So, welcome and welcome back to Pun's Tinkering Garage, and this is Project Toby, the Symphony of Shapekeys. Right? So, for those of you who came here from the short, then you would probably already know what we're going to talk about. But if you haven't, basically today we're going to continue Project Toby. So the last time we talked about FKIK switch, right? So, and at the closing part, I promise that the next part is gonna be about a shape keys, right? Or actually, more accurately, correctional shape keys. You might have noticed that it's been 2 months since I published the last video, or well, actually almost 2 months since I published the last video. And the reason why it took me so long to deliver what simply looked like a simple thing, which is shape key, is because, well, the symphony of it. You see, if you got the last published version of the Toby Rig, which you can download in my, I've provided the link on my video, and if you downloaded it, and this is how it looks like, right? So after I shared this version of the Toby Rig with others to test, I got some pretty good feedback about it. But there is one thing that people frequently pointed out, and that's about this set of switch bones, right? And the thing is, this set of switch bones, these switch bones actually control the shape keys. As you can see, as we switch it up and down, you can see that there's some kind of changes in the model, and that's basically the correctional shape key working, right? And technically speaking, these switch bones behave pretty much identical to the FKIK switch that we talked earlier, right? So what are they, how to operate them, and most importantly, why, right? This set of switch bones, at best, for most people, is confusing, right? I mean, it's not to me because, I made them. So, just like many other confusing things that I do, these do make sense only for me. So it's creator's bias kind of thing. I quickly realized that the way I handle shape keys is very unique. I would dare say that I might be the only one who's doing it this way, because for me, not only it makes sense, but it works perfectly. Originally, this is how it works. First, let's move a bone. So, for example, the clavicle, right? And we're gonna move it up, okay? And you see that maybe I should open this one. So by moving it up, we move it in the Z axis, right? So let's just get it maybe something like that, right? So inside my head, I know that the movement is clavicle raise, right? So I can go here, click this switch bone, which properly named shape key clavicle raise. And I'm just gonna slide it up and it's done, right? I even put a number on it, so 15, which means 15 degrees. So that later on I can remember how much I should rotate the clavicle. As I'm sliding the switch up and down, well, you can see that this switch bone actually control the correctional shape key, because you can see that they are there's some changes in the model, especially around this area, the upper back, is changing so that it's shaped a little better with the, the clavicle raise movement. So that's, again, that's correctional shape key working in action, right? So if we switch back to the object mode, select the 3D model and look for the clavicle raise shape key, which fortunately is at the top, we can see that it has the value of 1, which means that it's now fully activated. If we right click on the shape key, I hope you can see that. I'm just gonna drag it here. Okay, so we will see that I control the shape key driver with this bone, which is the control shape key clavicle raise 15L, which is that's basically the bone, the switch bone that we have just slided up and down earlier, right? And I put the type into Y location, which controls the up and down movement of the bone. So when we slide it up earlier, it activated the shape key. So that's the technicality of it. So yeah, with this technique, the advantage is that I got control over how and when each shape key is activated or deactivated. And I get to see them working visually because because the switch mode literally moves up and down. So I can see that like right now in real time, right? So, but on the other side, well, I have to do that. I have to do so manually, right? So yeah, then you might be wondering, why do I bother using this method at all in the first place? Why don't I just use the more common practice? In case you haven't been familiar with shape keys, or in this case, correctional shape keys and how to control them, the common practice is actually to control the shape key with the corresponding bone directly. So for example, the clavicle raise, and let's say that, well, we already know that we want this shape key to be activated when the clavicle is raised up, which means it's rotated in the z-axis. So this is how most people would do it normally, right? So right now, let's delete, for the sake of demonstration, let's delete the driver for now and add a new one. And I'm gonna bring it to the middle so that you can see it over my face, right? So yeah, on the input box and the object, we're gonna choose the armature, which is gonna be this one, and on the bone input, we're gonna choose control clavicle L, right? So that's basically the clavicle bone, and we're gonna choose the Z rotation, and we're gonna choose local space, right? And right now, as you can see that from the bottom here, the clavicle is rotated 15 degrees on its z-axis already. And again, that's when we want to fully activate the clavicle raise shape key. And if that's the case, in the syntax, we will write var multiplied by 180 divided by pi. And in case you're not familiar with the syntax, the 180 divided by pi is basically there to normalize the rotation from radian to degrees, because Blender calculates rotation in radian, so we're just gonna have to kind of translate that radian to degrees so that it's gonna be a lot easier for us to process, right? So after that, we would add another divided by 15 because again, we want the value of the shape key to be 1 when the clavicle control bone is rotated 15 degrees in its z-axis. So now if we press enter, you have to press enter, just don't forget that. Now, as you can see, the clavicle raised shape key value is 1, which means it's now fully activated. So if we go to the rig and we go to post mode and we clear rotation of the clavicle control and we go back, as you can see now that the shape key is now 0, which means it's now fully deactivated. So yeah, if we go back to the post mode again and we rotate the clavicle control up and down, we will see that the correctional shape key working. And yeah, so basically you can see that the left one is already automatic and the right one is still not, because we haven't changed anything on the right. We just changed the left one, right? So you see this one is the left, so we just changed the left one. So yeah, if we move it up and down, you can see that the left one has changed automatically, meanwhile the right one has not, right? So yeah, this is so much simpler, right? And more importantly, it's automatic and real time. So the question remains though, that why do I bother using this switch bone method to control the shape keys manually instead? So, well, in case you haven't figured it out by now from my previous quick demonstration, drivers are a pesky bunch. First, it's hard, or at least very inconvenient, to see them actually working, because when we are in post mode and we're moving our bones, we would have to go back to object mode, select the 3D model, and search for the shape key that we want to observe. Second, it's hard to control because, well, as you have seen, we have to create this syntax, right? And of course, from the previous quick demonstration, it doesn't really seem too complicated to create the syntax. Well, yeah, it's simply because it's still a simple movement. The simpler the movement, the simpler the syntax gonna be, and vice versa. The more complex the movement, the more complex the syntax gonna be. So yeah, those two major reasons are a deal breaker for me, and why I don't use the more common practice, which is to control the shape keys with corresponding bone directly. Then what should I do? In one side, by using the switch bones method, I got to control over how and when each shape key is activated, and I get to see them working visually, but then I have to do it manually. On the other hand, by using the more common method, I can control the shape keys automatically, but then it's gonna be hard for me to observe how and when they're actually working. And I have to deal with making or creating syntax ranging from simple to complex. So, which one should I choose? Well, I do the simplest of things. Create a magic by combining the advantage of both methods. What if I told you that I managed to use the switch bones method and get it working automatically? If we open the latest Toby blend file, which I have opened earlier, we will see such magic. When we go to our shape keys here, shape keys list, and see, for example, again, the clavicle raise, go to edit, and we'll see that it's still controlled by the control shape key clavicle raise 15L, right? And not to the corresponding bone, which is the control clavicle L, right? So then if we go to pose mode and we go to our clavicle L, clavicle control bone, and we're gonna try to rotate it up. We're gonna move it up like we did earlier, right? And as we, or probably I should change it to local. So if we rotate it up slowly, you can see that this thing is going up automatically. So let's give it a try one more time. There you go. So you can see that as we rotate it up, this thing goes up as well automatically. So, which also means that the clavicle raise shape key is also activated. So if we raise it up by 15, and sure, we can go back to object mode to check, and we will see that the clavicle raise is now fully activated because, well, it has value of 1. So yeah, it's cool, isn't it? And this is how I got the idea of a symphony. Sure, right now, when we're only moving the clavicle up, it doesn't seem much like a symphony, but when we combine more and more movement, and the movement becomes more and more complex, we will see that symphony. Fortunately though, I have several task animation to check the deformation and all that ready. So the first, I'm gonna use the first one, and yeah, again, remember that I only animated the control bones and not on the switch bones themselves. So as we can see, if we select all that switch bones, it's free. They are free of keyframes, so I don't animate it at all. So right now I'm going to show you 2 of total 4 symphonies today. Sorry for that. First is the Symphony of the Scapula, right? So yeah, yeah, let's probably just gonna show you. So probably gonna hide the control bones so that you can see it a little better. And since this is the Symphony of the Scapula, we can fully appreciate it from the back, right? And yeah, I'm just gonna play it and enjoy the symphony. Yeah, that is the Symphony of the Scapula. It's beautiful, isn't it? You can see that that switch bones moving on by themselves. I mean, that's just great, right? So yeah, now let's see the second symphony, and it's the Symphony of the Arm, right? So for this one, you can appreciate it from both the back and the front. We're gonna start with the back first, and next we're gonna go to the front to see it working from the front side, right? So yeah, I'm just gonna play it, and yeah. So yeah, that's from the back, and this one is from the front side. So let's play it again. Okay, so that's the Symphony of the Arm. So how do I achieve that level of automation with the switchbone method? The answer lies within the switchbone themselves. Because in these switchbones, there lies the magic. On the next part, we're going to talk about the magic within and also show you the last two symphonies, the Symphony of the Torso and the Symphony of the Legs. So, yeah, I'll see you there.